We ready? Right. All right, we're ready. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to call this meeting of the West Valley Water District Board of Directors to order. It is January 16th, 6:04 in the PM, and we will start with the roll call of board members.
Thank you. Director Bennett,
Here.
Director Moore,
Here.
Director Garcia,
Present.
Vice President Jenkins,
Present.
President Young,
Present.
5. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll next do the Pledge of Allegiance. Director Bennett, would you lead us, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and for our opening invocation, we have Pastor Tracy Crawford Jr. on the line. Or is it Reverend Townsend? Are you filling in for tonight, sir?
I'm just checking in, but yes, I
Okay.
definitely can fill in if needed.
Yeah,
All right?
yeah. Well, if you wouldn't mind, sir, we would appreciate it.
Not a problem. Let's pray. Father in heaven, we just come to you thanking you for this day, for this, all the blessings of life, Father. We, first of all, ask that you be with all of those that are working on the front line, all of our first responders that are out fighting the fires. And Father, just be with those that are displaced right now, that don't have homes. And Father, just minister to them mentally, physically, as well as financially. Right now, Father, as we have and go through this meeting with the West Valley Water District, we ask that we just might be cohesive, that they're just the issues that we talk about, the things that we do, Father, might meet your way of approval, that we might leave with a one just mindset, one thought in mind, Father, and that is just to take care of our people that you have given us responsibility for in this particular geographical area. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you so much. All right, so this evening we're going to take things a little bit out of order at the request of staff. So we're going to actually do the adoption of the agenda first. We need to add a fourth item to the closed session conference with legal, and can you maybe give us the full reading?
Sure. It's been brought to the attention of the district that there is a need for a late-breaking item for labor negotiation. And I believe we put it on the power conference of labor negotiators as listed on the screen under 54957.6, and the Brown Act does allow for that to be added to the agenda as a late breaking item under Government Code 54954.2. So I would recommend that if that's wishes of the board, that you take a vote to add that item at the same time that you adopt the agenda.
Okay. And then additionally, we're also going to be removing the item number 1 on the closed session because there is no update, is my understanding. And then also we're going to move up the presentations before closed session.
Right.
So any questions on that?
And that can be the motion.
And I'll entertain the motion.
I motion that we modify as named.
Okay, we have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, go ahead and call the roll.
Thank you. Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Bennett,
Yes.
Director Garcia,
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins,
Yes.
President Young.
Yes.
That passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so next up we'll go into presentations. And it is my pleasure to introduce Supervisor Jesse Armendariz. So he is joining us tonight, and it's my honor to introduce him. He'll be presenting us a check to support the district's fire flow and new fire hydrant installation in retrofitting existing hydrants in our Fontana service area. As we witness the devastating impacts of the ongoing fires in Los Angeles, and often the lack of sufficient hydrant fire flows to fight these fires, we are reminded of the critical need to invest in the essential water infrastructure that protects and serves our communities. So this funding will help us improve the available fire flows and to help us deliver water when and where it may be needed. So at this time, I'd like to invite Supervisor Armendariz to please come up and, yep, right there.
Well, thank you for having me. You stole my thunder. No, so when we first had this conversation, I want to just thank you guys for having the forward thinking to know the importance of having, the proper equipment and to be ready, willing and able. Like I was made aware, you actually have your backup generators for your pumps, which is one of the crucial things that failed out where these fires are. So I'm glad to hear that you guys have that. I think these fire hydrants will just add one more component of safety to our residents who we have the honor of representing here. And like you said, the fires are devastating. For us to come together and become partners and actually just advocate for safer neighborhoods by adding these extra fire hydrants where it will bring the recommended distances between fire hydrants. I applaud you guys for finding this when we met and saying this is something we would love for you to champion. And I'm just glad that I could be a part of it, that San Bernardino County could be a part of it so that we can continue to work collaboratively to make sure that the community's safe. And just thank you guys for the collaboration and the advocacy. I'm here as an advocate for you. Anything you guys need that I could help you with, I want to be there. I want to build those partnerships with you, continue to grow our relationship as we continue to serve our community. So thank you for allowing me to be a little part of helping you guys keep our community safe. And that's all I have to say. And we'll do the check if you guys want to come up and
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you, Supervisor.
It's smart that it's erasable.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that you can
I did notice that.
change that every time.
I did notice that.
Very, very smart of
Was
the
this
staffer
the
who came
same
up with
check
that
I
one.
saw at East Valley?
Excellent.
All right. Nice.
Really? Well, we sure do appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much.
That's a nice one, actually. That's a good picture. Bye-bye. Thank you. There you go. How do you do that?
All right, so while the board members are working their way back up here, I did want to also point out for those on the Zoom that our camera is currently not working at the moment, but we are also recording this on YouTube, and we will be posting the full video of that.
It's actually streaming live
Or
on
streaming
YouTube right
live,
now.
okay.
If you want to get off the Zoom and view it via YouTube, you can, and then it'll be posted for future reference on our website.
Thank you so much, and yeah, we will get that fixed. But thank you to the supervisor. You know, this has been a project that staff and the board have been in discussion with his office about for some time, and it's just kind of ironic that the timing was what it was with everything that's happened in LA, but it is a very important project, and we're very, very pleased to be working with the supervisor and his team on this project. So thank you so much to him. All right, our second presentation is the headquarter facilities master plan. Who's going to do the introductions?
Rocky.
All right.
Thank you, Board President, Vice President, and other members of the board. In October, this board approved a professional services agreement with PBK to prepare a facilities master plan. The intent of that master plan was to describe some of the goals that the district has in a future headquarters facility, whether it's here or somewhere else, or define all those things. Since that date, PBK has been working diligently to do site assessments of our existing headquarters building, looking at some other potential sites. And then also, in the past 2 days, they've been meeting with various representative groups from each of our departments, trying to determine department-specific needs, staff needs, goals for outreach to the public through our headquarters, and then also kind of creature comforts that staff has that would help this workspace be more amenable to the work environment, since we spend a lot of time here each and every week. So let's see, PBK has also talked to our public affairs group to talk about some of the needs for some of the improvement out here in our demonstration garden. So those are the types of things that are coming up from those department meetings. And as an end user of this building yourself, we wanted to get your input, and we also wanted to describe the process that the facilities master plan is going to take over the next few months to make sure that we deliver a project that we can all be proud of and can lay the groundwork for our future planning efforts. So with that, PBK has a presentation. Joshua Jackson would like to describe the process that PBK is going to go through for this process, what to expect, then also try to solicit a little bit of feedback from this group, specifically how the board wants to use this space for board meetings, committee meetings, and then also if there's any community outreach that we can do through the board meetings and through those activities that can help inform the master plan and the facilities that will ultimately be either constructed or implemented as part of this process. So with that, Josh is right here, and yeah, he's going to have a presentation for you. It's going to be up on the PowerPoint.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Board President and members of the board. It's great to be here with you this evening. I'm afraid we did not bring an oversized check or a check of any size, but we'll do our best to make it worth your while anyway. As Rocky said, my name is Josh Jackson. I'm the Director of Planning at PBK Architects, and I'm presenting tonight with Serena De La Cruz.
Hello, I am also on the planning team as a coordinator. I'm happy to be here tonight.
And then just in the audience, we have our lead architect on the project, Joe Monfreda, as well. And on behalf of the whole team, which is more than the three of us, we're just very happy to be working with the West Valley Water District and having this chance to support you in your tremendous efforts. This evening, as Rocky said, we're going to be giving an overview of the process by which we'll be producing the facilities master plan with you, talking a little bit about what is a facilities master plan, what's going to be included in that product at the end of the day. We'll walk it a little at a high level through the schedule of the work and activities we'll be doing, talk a little bit about some of the guiding principles and goals that we're hoping to achieve through this effort. And then finally, the most important reason we're here today is to hear from you. As Rocky mentioned, we've been speaking with members of your staff and stakeholders for the last 2 days, and you are one of the stakeholder groups we'd like to get input from. So hopefully we can move through our presentation quickly and give you guys all a chance to provide your input. Next slide, please. First, a quick note, what is PBK? We are a local architecture firm based in Rancho Cucamonga, but have offices up and down the state and indeed all over the country. This gives us a set of knowledge from our national practice, but able to deploy it at the local level. We produce a lot of master plans. That is a major component of our work. And in the past 10 years or so, we've done 20 projects with water districts and water facilities. So this is a space we're comfortable with. Next slide, please. So when we talk about a facilities master plan, at its most basic, a facilities master plan is a list of projects, a roadmap, if you will, for facility investment into the coming years. To produce that work, we want to anchor the analysis and production of plans in a foundation of data. Some of the information we try and collect are detailed information on facility conditions. We've had engineers and architects looking at every corner of this facility, as well as some of the other district properties, to help understand the feasibility or suitability of using these properties moving forward versus replacing them with new structures. To understand whether that makes sense, we're also doing a deep dive into understanding the programs and operations that are performed by the West Valley Water District, as well as getting some information on future projections. This is a long-term plan, and so understanding potential changes in how West Valley Water District is planning to function should be incorporated into the plan. Once we collect all this information, we're then working with stakeholders, getting input, as well as looking at best practices and industry trends, looking at water district headquarters. Equipped with that stakeholder input, the foundation of data, and the best practices, we will then make recommendations for future facility investments. And in that, you will have a set of prioritized projects, potential plans for reconfiguration and reorganization, as well as facility support for any number of different strategic initiatives that the district may pursue. Next slide, please.
Thank you. At a very high level, we at this current point in the project are reaching the end of the very initial part of the process. So we started by connecting with the water district to review information and request data that will inform the project going forward. We have also, as of today, completed all of our focus group interviews with different departments across the water district to understand needs from a user perspective. And as we're wrapping that up, we are moving into analyzing the data to identify existing deficiencies in the existing facilities and use those to create prioritized projects and inform things going forward in terms of potential reconfigurations and use of existing space. Next slide, please. Here you can see the project schedule, and this is available for looking into that more in depth in the future. But I wanted to highlight that our next touch point will be towards the end of February, when we have compiled all of the existing space information and can provide an analysis of the different needs of space by each department. And so that will give a very detailed overview of the needs of each department in terms of space. In our interviews today, we've heard that there is a huge need for storage, as well as different office configuration types based on department, as well as important adjacencies that could better improve the efficiency of different departments. We will also be developing a preferred concept plan. So we've heard many different ideas in terms of configurations of the space. And by the end of April, we should have one to present as the preferred concept. By June, we should have the final deliverable. Thanks.
Next slide, please. So In terms of goals, some of the things we're trying to achieve are, first, I've mentioned data a few times. We want to anchor all of this work in accurate facility data, understanding life cycle costs of the various systems, as well as projected needs in the future. We're also looking at best practices and trends, not just at water districts, but other public utilities and workplace trends as a whole, making sure that we are future-proofing as much as possible the water district's headquarters. And as part of that, making sure that we have an efficient and comfortable workplace, a place that people are excited to come to every day, that they feel productive, and that when the district is trying to recruit and hire new staff, there's a great first impression when people arrive here, and this is a team that they want to join. And in terms of that sort of presence and presentation, we want to think about the civic presence of this facility. This is a public-facing organization, and having something which is gracious and welcoming without being ostentatious is something that we would like to achieve moving forward. Next slide, please. And so in a moment, we have some prompts and questions for all of you that we would like you sort of walk through and ask. But before getting into that, I wanted to open it up for any questions about our process, the different types of information we're trying to collect, or the ultimate deliverable that we're going to produce.
Any general questions before they get into the specifics?
Josh, I had one. I did see on your scale of doing part of it in like 7 days, getting some type of initial feedback, or is this a thumbnail sketch of what the direction that things are going to happen on the scale where it has all
the schedule?
Yeah, I saw a 7-day turnaround time.
We do have things sort of detailed out with some information. So I think that 7 days may have pertained to this week when we've been on site engaging people. We're collecting data for a lot more than 7 days.
Yeah, I was going to say,
but we are
like
on site
pretty
this
rapid.
week.
All right, I'd be pretty impressed, by the way, if it was 7 days. Okay,
No, this
Thank you.
this is a multi-month process.
all right.
Any other general questions? All right, I think we're ready
The
for
next
your
slide, please.
targeted questions.
Fantastic. So, at a high level, some of the things we'd like to hear from today are, first and foremost, what are the most critical needs of the district? When you are engaging with your constituents or members of the staff, I think you guys have a unique perspective bringing everything together, and we'd love to hear about, in each of your opinions, what are the most critical needs. We'd also be interested in hearing about your needs as a board. What are the facilities that you need to do your job well, to engage with the public, to provide access to decision-making, so on and so forth. And then finally, sort of a grab bag, open book, what guidance and direction do you have for us? Are there folks you want us to speak to, specific issues you want us to dive in and focus on? We're really here to serve you, and so we're eager to hear and receive any direction and guidance that the board may have. That concludes our presentation, and happy to answer more questions and discuss, but we'd really love to hear the board's reactions to these prompts.
All right, do we want to take them one at a time then, or do you all just want to go one by one?
Okay, well, I have a priority, I guess. I've already spoken up once. I'm a numbers guy, so cost is probably my highest priority, especially knowing how difficult it is for our constituents just to make monthly bills. And you already mentioned that you're not looking for something either gaudy or when Joe gets around to designing something, I'm sure you're going to probably save costs and what's the best way to gain things down. But cost is probably my number one priority. And then I believe our outdoor, kind of like what we have now, needs to demonstrate water conservation because we're a water district. I don't think having a fountain or a stream would be beneficial, but it might be. Maybe they're recycling water on that. And then I think thirdly would be I like to see something like a community center or at least a community room or maybe event / because we already have events that happen here in this room, but maybe something more specific and helping out where it works well with our outreach program. Those are probably my top three. Just off the head.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Kelvin?
Yeah, I agree with Dan. I know that
Your mic.
I know that we've added some outreach staff to go out and work out in the public, but also want to bring the public in to kind of see what's going on here and do more workshops and things like that. And currently, they have to reorganize this whole space to do that. It'd be nice to have a designated space with all the audio visual that they need, and a nice storage closet to put their stuff, and to just support the constituents that we have. I think that's important because we really want to get them, our ratepayers, educated, and then get them comfortable coming down here and getting the education, because the more we give them, when there's times for rate increase and things like that, we've got to review things. If they've known all along what we've been doing to support them keeping their payments low, it would be no issue or very minimal issues when it comes to that time. So as much as we can invest in bringing them in would be great. There was one more thing, the aesthetics outside. I agree what you're saying about the water, but I think that we could do something with recycled water or something to have a visual there, an optic of water, because we should have something that makes noise and has water in there. That's it.
I was
Thank you.
joking with Dan that we need that I want a waterfall. No. So maybe we
I agree with all three. In particular, a civic building. We recently have a new fire department. New police department is under the construction. And I think it would be great to have a new facility here, or expanding this one, to stay on track with the other agencies that service the community.
Thank you.
Angie?
Well, I want it all. I want space. I want open space. I want it to aesthetically look nice outside. I wanted to show that we're a water agency, so some water feature in the front, but with some, we had talked about previously where we had like a desert garden or some sort of vegetation that we talk about in our workshops, so we can present it in the front, so it doesn't look so barren. One of the things I always advocated for was an education room. So when we have workshops or we want to bring in high schoolers or someone, that we are giving presentations to, there's a specific area where it looks like it's an educational room, and and not be in here. Also, to give more room and space for staff, so if we're limited with space, we can always go up and do a multi-floor building, again with water features, all in a economical package.
Well, it sounds like I got voted out in the water feature. Josh, can I interrupt and just say there's one item that popped in my brain that I want to express: security.
Yes.
Security is very important to me. Thank you.
Yes, and more lighting. Whatever you do, there has to be good lighting.
And then
Thank you.
If you ask anything, I'll think of some other stuff later.
yeah. I thank the board for its comments. I'll probably echo many of it. I would like maybe a water feature, sorry, Dan. But I do agree it should be, either recycled or some kind of a closed system to where we're not wasting water either. But I think probably one of the biggest challenges, and, as someone who's been on the board the longest and has, this has been something we've been talking about for some time on the board. Because we've seen the growth of the district. When I first started, I think we had about a little over 60 employees, and we're now up to 92?
88.
88, okay. I added a couple people, but
We'll take it.
but the reality is that before we blink, we'll probably be closer to 100. And even back when we were in the 60s, we were talking about where we're going to put everybody. And the challenge I think that we have is that we're trying to make space out of buildings that are over 70 years old at this point. You open a wall and all of a sudden it becomes a hazmat situation because of asbestos. This building is actually one of the newer portions because this used to be a walkway between two buildings at one point. So we've, I think, tried to make the most use of this footprint, but I really think that this plan really needs to take a hard look at what are our other options, whether that be to relocate to a new facility, even if for a temporary time frame, so that you can probably have to tear this whole thing down because it's probably not worth the reno cost for all the reasons I just mentioned. But I think that that's something we have to really look at. And while I appreciate Dan bringing up the cost, and believe you me, I'm very conscious of the cost too, it costs us more to try to keep amending a 70-year-old building too. So it's like, at what point does it just make more sense to start with something new? Even if it might mean that we all may have to live out of a warehouse for a couple of years until we can build something new. But to further echo my colleagues' comments, certainly we have to have a boardroom, but we definitely like having, I think, a room that is multi-purpose in nature, though, too. A good example, I think, is if you look at what they did at the new headquarters for East Valley Water District. The blueprint of their dais is quite small when you look at the whole room. The majority of the room is open space, really, that can be configured for any kind of a public event. You look at our layout here, about 2/3 of this room is taken up by this dais. So again, I think that you can have a boardroom that is also multi-purpose in nature, but just has a footprint that doesn't impact the rest of the room as much. So I would certainly like to see something like that, because not only for the outreach events that we're doing, it'd be great if we could also be, like East Valley does, open it up to other organizations in the community to be able to have events here, because we only have board meetings every once in a while. So it most of the time this room is empty. So it would be nice if we could make that available to the larger community. I also would like to see better facilities for the staff. We have some buildings out back that, again, we've been haphazardly trying to fix and modify, but are, again, many decades old at this point. And again, it just becomes almost too expensive to just keep modifying those older facilities and to provide the kind of safe, clean, workable conditions that our staff deserve. So I would like to have that be a component as well, that we need to make sure that we have a facility that meets our growing needs, but also provides a safe, clean, and efficient space for our staff now. And unfortunately, I'm starting to fear that this space just really isn't doable anymore, just because it's so old and it's so hard to make changes without it being several times more expensive than it should. I mean, we did a very nice upgrade to the customer service lobby since I've been on the board, and it is a wonderful project, but that project ended up being twice as expensive as originally thought. Because the moment you open up the wall, you find all kinds of problems that now become twice as expensive to fix. So even though the end result looks amazing, and I'm very happy with it, it's like, again, at what point do we just have to say it's time to start with something new? Whether that's a different location or whether it's still here, but just having to go off-site for a while we reconfigure this. And another reality is parking. Parking can get quite difficult here between all the district vehicles, and as we continue to grow, and like I said, we'll probably be up to 100 at some point here in the future, we're going to need more parking. So to maybe Director Garcia's point, at some point we have to look at maybe building up, even though it may be more expensive, but so we can preserve enough parking for the staff and for the public too. We have had board meetings where there's absolutely no parking for the public. So I think those are kind of some of the things which I'd be interested in looking at. I mean, obviously it would be a lot of things that we're going to have to discuss after this plan is created, but I think these are some of the big questions that we need to really ponder as far as what is the most efficient way to deal with these issues that we're going to face in the future, and what is the best course forward. So those are just kind of some of my thoughts.
I have a question. Do we have other land that we can build on? Or would we do?
Can I chime in on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
A part of the request that we have from PBK is to evaluate other potential sites.
Okay.
And specifically, we've targeted them towards sites that we own.
Okay.
And we do own some vacant land in a few areas, but it would all depend on the size needs.
Forgive me. Is it closer to my house?
It's next to Romer.
The one
Thank you.
site, the main site that we're considering is just north of Romer.
Oh wow.
And so there's a lot of benefits being close to an existing facility, but that's all going to factor into their analysis.
Thank you, Rocky.
There's also county properties that are contiguous to this property that we've already been in contact with the county about potentially changing the lot lines or taking over some of those parcels or trading those parcels or co-developing those parcels.
Yeah, I wish we could buy the lot across the street, but I hear that the developer won't even entertain it.
Yeah.
I just came from Coachella Valley Water District, so it just like I was really, it was really nice to see when you go through the front doors, then you have that big atrium open space with murals of the landscape, and so that would be something that would be very nice. I think customer service, the customers go in there, pay, but they can see the mural, and then when you walk in there, there's like, and then you have like a second stairs. So everything looks more open, but that's why I mentioned if we're limited to land, then we should start looking at moving up and having an open space with murals and not just have empty walls, because I think that we have a lot of history here and we can fill a lot of walls up with that.
I believe that PBK worked on that project.
We did indeed.
Good job.
Yeah.
Well, now you know what I want.
I think Joe had something to say,
I just
right?
wanted to chime in. Thank you all. I appreciate you having us today on the presentation this evening. I was just going to say, in addition, I mean, I'm listening to everyone, and you're all tracking exactly where we're at. We're in this assessment process, but of course, the implementation part is where all your ideas are coming in, and you're tracking with us. So I just want to assure you that in the assessment process that Josh and the team's putting together, there's going to be a cost estimate portion that's a real cost estimate of what we're recommending. So all the input we're getting, all the assessing we're doing, it's all going to go in the report, and then our cost estimators are going to literally take our recommendations. So for example, if we recommend, doesn't mean because we recommended that you have to do it, but if we recommend remaining here and maybe, I'm just making this up, going up and demolitioning this or that and so forth, we'll put a cost to that so that you can review that. If we recommend staying just like it is, but making this up too, doing a facelift and just, paint and carpet only and new air conditions, there'll be a cost estimate to that. If we recommend leaving, we will also say, obviously, we won't know much about the price of the land because we don't know where we're going, but we can talk about hypothetical square footage and all the amenities and put a price to that. So that when the next time you look at the report, it won't be completely exhaustive because we can recommend a ton of things and it'll be this thick, but you'll have something to quantify a direction to go in, then you'll let us know where we can go. When we get to the implementation phase, of course, we'll propose on that. We want to get that project, whatever direction we're going in, all those great ideas come out. All the ones you saw at the water districts that we've already done, the new ideas. And, I love your water feature idea. And by the way, I have a very distinct position in this project in that I'm one of your customers. I live up the road and I pay my water bill here. So I don't know if that's a conflict of interest or if that's a good thing. But so I want to make sure we don't build you something that's going to raise my rates as well. But what we see is that we can, when you look at water features, especially living out here and lots of wind, lots of maintenance, those are great ideas. But also I've done something at another district in Chino Water Basin where I heard about you're saying you want to bring like high school people and teach them about conservation and so on. Well, we did a really nice, modest, but really nice amphitheater with a covered roof, a batten seam roof that collects water. And at the stage portion where they're standing, it actually will collect in gutters and come down the chain when it's raining. Now, you got to find a rainy day, but it'll come down when it's raining, and it'll actually go down the water chain. So as you're giving the presentation, you'll see the water collected coming down, and it goes into a little rock river that we've created that goes out to a retention area. So we're demonstrating that we're going to capture water, we're going to send it here, and then it gets used for irrigation. And along the way, even when it's not raining, little plaques and little things, you can do a little tour and see the different, almost like an arboretum. You
Yeah,
can see the
yeah.
succulents, you can see where when it does rain, it's going to come here, and this is how to conserve water. All these things can happen, so you're not really using water, you're not really doing something, but we're going to catch it in rain barrels, whatever we do.
Yeah.
Talk all about water, because we don't get a lot of it, right? But there's still something to do when it's not raining. So a lot of great ideas, and it's funny, I designed the amphitheater that the columns that come up are kind of a little bit on a diagonal, and they look like trees holding up the roof. So it's kind of a forest that holds it up. So it's really kind of a lot of stuff like that when we get to it that you can use for outdoor discussion. Then, of course, all that wonderful, beautiful entry and stuff. All that's coming with the implementation, but we're going to make a lot of suggestions, recommendations, and we're going to put price tags to it, and you're going to have tools in which to direct us where to go.
Awesome.
Thank you for indulging me.
Great. Any other comments?
We're still doing our wishes.
Yeah, yeah, we have another one.
So for public affairs, external affairs, I think we need to have like a studio where they can do podcasts or their recordings and things like that for the Facebook page, or even when they bring people in to do interviews or things like that. I think that would be good to have something like that. So
You're making the ladies over there smile with that.
you know, yes.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Way
That's
to
a
go,
great idea.
Kelvin.
Yeah.
I would also say, because we do have like one small little boardroom here that we do our closed session in, but it would even be nice if we had multiple rooms, because sometimes we do have conflicting schedules with our committee meetings, and it'd be great if we had two. We could actually have simultaneous committees going off if we had more than one boardroom adjacent, but while we're adding to the wish list, right?
This is the time to bring
Yeah,
it up.
mhm, yeah.
As Joe just said, we're going to look into this.
Yes.
We're going to make recommendations, let you know the cost. So this is the time to get it all out.
And there's ways of making one good room with a nice giant wall that retracts, and you can make two when you need them. So
Yeah.
we can give you ideas.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
Some marble floors.
Marble floors.
Just kidding. Thank you very much for listening to that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. We look forward to hearing what you put together.
You got it. We'll be back.
All right, excellent.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. All right, so we'll finish that up. So now we will go to the closed session. So we'll do first the public comment for closed session items. Madam
Thank you.
Clerk.
Members of the public may participate and give public comment in one of four ways: in person at West Valley Water District's Administrative Boardroom, via telephone by calling 888-475-4499, access code 840-293-7790, via Zoom with access code 840-293-7790, or via email to administration@wvwd.org.
Okay. Have we received any
None in
requests for public
person,
comment?
none in person or email,
Okay.
no one on Zoom.
Nobody on Zoom? Okay, they're probably all on YouTube where they can see us. So with no one wanting to speak, we'll go ahead and adjourn into closed session. Thank you.
We'll do the MOU last.
All right, we are back from closed session. We'll have the report out from closed session.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The board did meet in closed session on items 2, as well as the additional labor negotiator item, and there was no reportable action.
All right, thank you. All right, so we've already adopted the agenda, so we will do our regular public participation at this time.
Thank you. Members of the public can participate and give public comment in one of 4 ways: in person at West Valley Water District's Administrative Boardroom, via telephone by calling 888-475-4499 with access code 840-293-7790, via Zoom with access code 840-293-7790, or via email to administration@wvwd.org. Received anything via email or in person, and no one on Zoom.
Okay, once again, they're probably all on YouTube. So hello to those on YouTube. I don't know, can we see comments back there or from the folks? No, okay. Legal says no, so. Okay, all right, so we'll go ahead and, seeing no one here who wants to speak, we'll go ahead and close public participation. So that'll now take us to the consent calendar. So we have 2 items on the consent calendar for this evening. And if no one wants to pull one of these, I'll entertain the motion to adopt the 2 items as soon as we can get it up here on the screen. Keep going.
Albert, next slide. Keep going.
One more.
Keep going.
Keep going. Nope.
There you go.
One,
There we
one
go.
more
All
up.
right.
There we go. Perfect.
So, whoop.
I motion that we adopt the consent calendar as presented.
Okay, we have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any discussion? All right, go ahead and call the roll.
Thank you. Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Bennett,
Yes.
Director Garcia,
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins,
Yes.
President Young.
Yes.
That passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. So next up, we have business matter, item number 1, which is the IE Works contract renewal. We'll be presenting.
Good evening, President Young and Board. As you recall, this item was before you at the end of last year, and we tabled it and brought it back tonight. And this is the contract that will expire at the end of this fiscal year, June 30th. During the term of the contract, we will be training 3 interns through the program, the 12-week program, and concurrently, IE Works staff and Director Garcia are working on enhancing the program to include the participants to be part of the service area. So we're continually in contact with the IE work group and finding ways of enhancing and developing new ways of attracting people from our service area. So with that, we would like to present this contract and have it approved and adopted so we can start the internship program for the 3 that will go through this training process.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Haiti? Nope.
I do have a discussion on that, or just a comment. Is this time to do it?
It was just questions, but we'll get to comments.
Okay, well, I'll wait then.
Questions? Nope. All right, you can go ahead now. Yeah.
Comment.
Yeah.
No, I just want to say that, I did attend the IE Works, was it like a workshop or a board meeting that they had? And, we are going to be working together to try to find more avenues to bring more interns from our service area. And there's a transition going on right now because, is his name Scott?
Yes, Scott.
Yeah,
Scott
he
has
left.
moved. Scott is leaving IE Works, and he's going and moving abroad, and so there's going to be a transition in the leadership. But we are looking into avenues to get more recruitments. So on that, can I make a motion?
Sure, absolutely.
I make a motion to approve the IE Works contract renewal for 24-25.
Okay, we have a first. Do we have a second?
I
I'll
second.
second.
Oh, You win.
Rock, paper, scissors. I guess we'll give it to
Director Moore.
Director Moore. All right. Any other discussion or comments? All right. I think go ahead and call the roll.
Thank you. Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Bennett,
Yes.
Director Garcia,
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins,
Yes.
President Young.
Yes.
That passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next up, business item number 2, the new water conservation specialist, and probably Haiti again.
Hello again. Okay, so this item was brought to you back in September when we were requesting a water conservation analyst position. You approved it, we ran the recruitment, and unfortunately, it didn't render a candidate that could fill the position or the needs of the position. So staff reviewed and determined that in order for us to attract individuals that are interested in this new area of water conservation, we are taking the approach to lower the requirements of the position and reclassify it to a water conservation specialist. It will open the door for those people that are truly interested in entering into this area that, again, is newly developing because of the changes in the water conservation area. So again, staff reviewed it, discussed the needs, and captured most of them in the attached job description. We hope that if it's approved, we will post it and recruit immediately to see what the outreach would render, and hopefully fill this very important position soon. The salary range was lowered, which effectuates more cost savings of the initial position. And again, the water conservation specialist will be tasked with a lot of the duties that the analyst position was going to be tasked with at a lower level. So with that, we're presenting the job description, the new salary range, and recommend that the position be approved, adopted, so we can start the recruitment.
Hey, does anyone have any questions for Haiti?
Not having seen that portion of the packet, is the salary range comparable or is it more enticing?
I missed the last part. Comparable.
Or will it attract more candidates based on the new salary range?
So it's comparable to the market. So we are in line with what the market value is of this position. So we are going to be competitive in that area.
Okay.
So like 10, 15% below the analyst scale?
It's about 15% below.
And we had some people apply for the analyst position that didn't meet the qualifications that would meet these qualifications. So we expect we'll see some of those people back.
It's more or less.
So I think
They reduced the qualifications, but they increased the price.
So you're not requiring a degree, or what is?
so. The degree goes from a bachelor's to an associate, and 1 year experience.
Okay.
So it's truly entry level, and gives a person the possibility, upward mobility. If at some point they reach the maximum capacity at this level, then we can reconsider the analyst position. So it's a growth opportunity. But for now, we want to do entry level.
Okay. Any other questions? If no other questions, entertain a motion on the item.
I'll make a motion that we accept the new position as written for water conservation.
All right. We have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the roll.
Thank you, Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Bennett,
Yes.
Director Garcia,
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins.
Yes.
President Young.
Yes.
That passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, next up, legislative principles, and in particular, a discussion related to the options on the last couple pages, but we'll let Mary Jo go over that.
I always forget how short I am, sorry. Okay. Good evening, President Young, Board of Directors. Tonight, I'm excited to present to you our legislative principles for the 2025 legislative year. While many of you have had the opportunity to review and discuss these with our team, I'd like to take some time to quickly review the importance of them. And Mr. Klinger, if you wouldn't mind skipping to the next page. Perfect. Thank you. The legislative platform is a set of guiding principles for the district's legislative efforts, designed to strengthen collaboration with both state and federal lobbyists, and position us as a proactive voice within our industry, the associations that represent it, and within our region on legislative matters. We are especially grateful for the previously provided strategic plan, which has been instrumental in shaping and informing this document. This platform aligns with the ongoing efforts of the Public Outreach and Government Affairs team, including active participation in industry association meetings and work groups. For instance, our involvement in Aqua Region 9 legislative calls and Southern California Water Coalition's legislative task force ensures that we are engaging with industry professionals to identify legislative impacts on the district and for the region we serve. Through these efforts, we are establishing ourselves as a key voice within the water industry. On the screen for your consideration is a roadmap of 2 options for the platform that we will use going forward. If you wouldn't mind changing the next. So option A will allow us to effectively navigate the legislative process by allowing the general manager to take positions on behalf of the district consistent with the legislative principles, and then immediately inform the board of what actions were taken and how they benefit the district, its customers, and the communities we serve. This process, which follows industry standards, would streamline our ability to work with our legislators and our lobbyists and industry associations to build positive relationships and increase our efforts to advocate on behalf of our customers. As we grow our legislative program, we can become the voice of our region on issues that matter most and that align with our legislative platform. Option B requires staff to present positions to the board of directors to approve each position taken by the district at regularly scheduled board meetings. In cases where time-sensitive decisions are needed, this option would necessitate additional coordination with the board secretary to call special board meetings, potentially within 24 to 48 hours, to ensure a quorum is met for voting. This can require significant commitment from both the board and staff to navigate these time constraints effectively. Most recently, Aqua sent out a call to action to its members to sign on to a coalition letter, and while the request was not one that our legislative platform necessitated a follow-through, it is a great example of a limited time constraints we may have. The request was sent out on the afternoon of January 2nd, and the deadline was January 9th to join. If district staff had identified this letter as one that would require a position to be taken, then a special meeting would have had to been called. Both options are presented with the goal of ensuring the district's legislative engagement and advocacy efforts are aligned with our strategic plan and that best serve the needs of our community and advancing the district's mission. Our team looks forward to your deliberation and direction, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for staff?
Yeah, my question is, what committees were the legislative principles presented to, and did they provide any specific guidance regarding the principles?
Sure. So we first brought the legislative principles with both options to External Affairs. That was when you, Director Garcia, and Vice President Jenkins was on it. And our guidance was to move forward to policy, option A. We then went to policy committee when it was President Young and Director Moore. And we were told to move on to the board with option B. Mm-hmm. And when we brought it back to External Affairs just for an update, because it had been so long since the first one, that was then Directors you, Garcia, and Director Moore, and we were told to go to the board with option A. So we're here now to decide if we're going option A or B.
That's right. I'm sorry. It's been a few months that we've been going back and forth on this, and it was in our last discussion in External Affairs with Director Moore being present that we felt that, we should, we're not there during the day-to-day meetings, with Aqua meetings or the legislative discussions, and that we felt that option A, we trust the staff to make the decision and the general manager to make a decision on stuff that are day-to-day items. But when there was a legislative issue that he thought would trigger controversy, that he would bring it to the board. And I think, if I remember correctly, we were in agreement with that. And I think if even our lobbyist, our federal lobbyist, Jamie, was there also and indicated that option A is the normal option that most water agencies are on. And so it was just one of those things that he didn't understand why everything had to, why we couldn't have staff make these decisions without the board all the time. So yeah, that's the background behind why we, at the last committee meeting, we felt that option A would be the best, that we could move forward with that. But then we're bringing it back today.
Any other questions for staff before we get into the dialogue?
No, I know they created an awesome flow chart, which made it very, very nice to read and see what the steps were. And I don't know if everybody had a copy of that. We can
It's
get
in
it.
your board packet.
Yeah. But it was a great hats off for you guys for doing that, because it made things a little bit more clearer, and even on those fuzzy points. So it was easier to support this because we have a general manager that's the call guy. The last guy, right? And but he would have to have the pressure. It's his responsibility to get a hold of us afterwards. But we have to, from looking at the way that was instituted and the way it's written in the flow sheet, I think that was the best way to go. It would seem to be less confusing, and it empowered our general manager to do what he needs to do, and we allow the system to move.
Okay, well, if there's no more questions, thank you, Mary Jo. And any other discussion from the board?
No, I'm good.
If there's no discussion, can I make a recommendation?
Well,
Or
if I
motion? I'm sorry, a motion?
You would want a motion for whatever option.
I want to make a motion to continue. I want to make a motion for the legislative principles to go with option A. Allow the general manager to take positions on behalf of the district consistent with legislative platform as described on the screen.
Okay, there's a first. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion. I will just say that as the person who recommended option B, I cannot vote for item A. I believe that taking a position on the politics of the state is inherently a political decision, which is why it should rest with the board. And while many agencies do practice option A, some do also practice what option B represents. And we do have the ability to do special meetings, so I believe we can and still allow staff to do their job in evaluating and making recommendations, but ultimately the final decision should rest with the board. Now, obviously the board can decide differently, but I cannot support that because I believe the board should retain its power in all its official decisions. So I'll just say that. Any other discussion? All right, we can call the roll.
I'll take a roll call for option B. Director, sorry.
A.
Option A.
Sorry, option A, I'm sorry. This is so much A and B talk. This is option
A.
A. Thank you. Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Bennett,
Yes.
Director Garcia,
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins,
No.
and President Young.
No.
That passes 3-2.
All right, thank you very much. And now we will move on to reports. Next up, we have board committee reports. Does anyone have any committee reports which they need to present tonight? I do have one here for the policy committee. So the policy committee heard updates and discussed the status of all policies, including policies that were adopted in 2014 and policies that we're currently working on reviewing and updating. These will include the water service rules and regulations, HR policies and procedures, And then there's an urgent need for reviewing policies related to SB 998. The committee's goal is to review the policies every 2 years and to have staff review these items as needed for compliance with state and local laws, and to standardize policy formats and create a policy handbook. So additionally, the committee recommended that the water services rules and regulations be brought back to the committee for review, and that they will be brought in segments. So, anyone else have any committee reports?
I do. I have a, for Finance Committee, we discussed the water rate study and long-range financial plan. Staff have been working with our rate consultant, Ralph Tellis, for several months and progressing well. We're at the point where the board input is needed to continue the process. The committee recommended the board workshop, which has been scheduled for January 30th. Topics will include a review of the water rate development process, findings, long-range financial planning, CIP considerations, as well as the Prop 218 timeline. We also discussed the district fire hydrant readiness in light of the major fires in Palisades and Eaton Canyon and the lack of hydrant fire flows to actively fight those fires. The committee asked about our own fire flow readiness. Staff will research this, look at existing data, and make an assessment, which may include the need for additional computer modeling and field testing. Staff will bring back findings back to the committee and the whole board. We also reviewed the standard monthly finance items and approved them for placement for the next board agenda. Thank you.
Okay, any other reports?
Yes, on the Human Resource Committee, which met, there was discussion on the water conservationist analyst position. We spoke about that this evening, and they're going forward with a continuous search for it.
Okay. Dan, you got one?
Sure, I got one on safety and technology. Turn that on, probably. I have a pretty good voice, though. Headquarters security standard operating procedures are being developed for the surveillance policy that was approved by the board. Staff is looking for ways to integrate the burglar alarm and the security camera systems. Secondary, the website update. After the approval of the class and comp study, the new job descriptions were posted on the website. The project to upgrade the content management system is complete, and the web developer will now focus on internet development. Phishing campaign. IT conducted a phishing campaign with staff to simulate a phishing attack. Some staff erroneously clicked on the email leaks. Very small number though. And continued training and simulations are planned as part of the ongoing program. Finally, SCADA, the master plan. Great news. The district was awarded $250,000 for the SCADA master plan. Sorry if I stole your thunder, John. Through the year of 2024, state and local cybersecurity grant program. Love those grants. Keep it going. And thank you, John, for leading the effort.
So what you're saying is the fishing caught a few fish.
A few, yes. Very, very small.
Okay. All right. Any other committee reports?
They took all of mine, so I don't have one.
All right. So next up, we have board member reports. Does anyone have any comments or anything they'd like to add for the evening?
I do. Last Friday, I had the loss of one of my really good friends. Her name was Jessica Torres. There was a posting from the Chicano Latino Caucus of San Bernardino that I thought that it hit the spot, and I want to read what was written about her. She wasn't an elected official, but she was at every event, and she was always there to support the community and the cause. So I just want to read what was written about her because I couldn't have said it better myself. With heavy hearts and profound sadness, we share the loss of our beloved friend, colleague, sister in service, Jessica. As a cherished member of the Chicano Latino Caucus of San Bernardino County, Jessica was more than just a board member. She was a beacon of hope, strength, and love for her community. Jessica dedicated her life to uplifting others, tirelessly working to make a difference in the lives of those around her. Her passion, compassion, unwavering commitment to the value of justice, equity, and unity inspired everyone who had the privilege of knowing her. Her mission was deeply rooted in service, and her heart was always open to those in need. Whether advocating for her community or simply offering a kind word, Jessica's presence was a gift to all. Today, we mourn not just the loss of a colleague, but of a dear friend whose light shone brightly in our lives. As we grieve, we also celebrate her extraordinary legacy, her boundless love for her community, and the profound impact she made. Jessica, you will forever live in our hearts. Your dedication and spirit will guide us as we continue to work you passionately believed in. To her family, loved ones, and all who knew her, we will extend our deepest condolences. We are here for you, and together we will honor the incredible life Jessica lived. Rest in peace, dear Jessica. You will always be missed, but never forgotten. With love and solidarity, the Chicano Latino Caucus of San Bernardino. Jessica was the one that always said, we gotta always be extra and always be nicely dressed and always look our best and have a smile and show support for our community and our friends. And I just want to dedicate this meeting to her because she was my really good friend. I would say she was like my soul friend. And she was just taken from us from one day to another. And it's a very tragic loss. So I want to make sure that this, Jessica, I know you're listening, my toxic friend, we call each other toxics. But we loved each other, and I know that everybody here on the dais has seen her one way or the other supporting an event. So Jessica, I love you and I still miss you a lot.
Anyone else have any reports?
Yes. I participated in the Rialto Chamber of Commerce breakfast. It has been, I think they said 9 months since they had one. Opportunity to introduce ourselves, introduce the agency, met some new individuals, and discuss a little bit of water. Just putting our face out there to the community.
Great. Anything, Calvin, anything? Or?
Yeah, on the 7th, I attended the San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District.
I'm sorry, can you speak up?
I attended the San Bernardino Valley Water District meeting, and on the 9th, the chamber luncheon, and also the Rialto Chamber on the 14th. I attended that meeting as well. And I think that's it. Yeah.
In light of a passing, I think my participation's mute. I want to extend my condolences to my partner here and on the dais, and to the family of Jessica.
And I'll echo those condolences. I'm sorry for your loss, Angie, and the loss for her family and the community. I do want to thank Supervisor Armendariz for working with us and bringing the check this evening. It's really fantastic to see us working so well with him in his office. And I do also want to congratulate 5th District Supervisor Joe Baca Jr., who this week was made Vice Chair of the Board of Supervisors for the next term. So he will be the Vice Chair to Chairman Rao continuing in her position. So congratulations to him, and continue to look forward to working with him in his office as well. And that's all I have for this evening. So, John?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have updates on staffing and recruitments, recent degrees and certifications achieved by 4 of our staff members, and information on our new and expanding employee recognition programs. So first of all, staffing and recruitments, lots going on again. I have 7 updates, starting with Chief Financial Officer. We had a second posting that closed last Friday after 6 weeks of advertising. So we've reviewed all those applications. We've created a short list, and looks like a strong group. We're planning to have interviews on the 30th, or I think on the 31st, that Friday. So looking good. Water conservation analyst we've talked about. Senior engineer, this position posted in December. Actually, I think it closes on it closed on December 21st. We do have 8 candidates, and we've scheduled them for interviews next week. For the GIS intern, great response to this posting. We're looking at 18 candidates, interviews next week. For the 1,000-hour field assistants, we'll have 2 positions, 17 applicants we're looking at. So a really excellent response there. Interviews in the next couple weeks, it looks like. We have an opening for our customer service lead. Jessica is leaving, and this position posted January 7th and is scheduled to close January 19th. Finally, associate engineer with PE, working with Rocky and taking a look at engineering department structure before initiating a recruitment.
Okay.
Have next item, education and certification achievements. Just wanted to shout out to 4 of our own. Rosa Gutierrez just received her MBA from Cal Poly Pomona. Jonathan Barfield, his distribution grade 3 certification. Renee Gabaldon passed the fundamentals of engineering exam, very challenging. So he is now an EIT, and I remember taking this very same test just 40 years ago. So next for him is perhaps the PE exam after he gets some experience under his belt. And then finally, Gilbert Olivares just obtained his backflow certificate. So that's certainly very challenging with all the new regulations for sure. So congratulations. Congratulations to Rosa, Jonathan, Renee, and Gilbert. Thank you for continuing to advance your professional growth and also expanding the district's capabilities and our culture of excellence. So last report, I just wanted to, about a year ago, exactly, we kicked off the Employee of the Month program starting in January. So we had 12 Employees of the Month last year. So with those 12, our staff is voting among those 12 for the 2024 Employee of the Year. So that's coming out. And similarly, our staff also nominated, did write-ups, and voted for a Department of the Year. So both of these are new recognition awards, and we'll be announcing those winners at our all-hands meeting next Tuesday. Looking forward to doing that for sure, and I'll bring the news to the board, of course.
John, does the 2024 winner get like a front parking space or something?
I think no.
I
I think probably a gift and a lunch.
Alrighty.
And I'm planning to take we're going to have the Department of the Year will do like a catered lunch from, I think Ono Hawaiian Barbecue is the
add them
choice.
to next year's calendar. I don't know.
Yeah. Poster.
There you go.
Yeah, so great programs for sure. Yeah, a lot of excitement on that. That's all for me.
All right.
Thank you.
John. All right. Legal.
And I will pass tonight, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Aw.
All right. So number 5, so is that kind of replacing the calendar essentially?
It's not. We just added one just because public affairs and does so much out there that we wanted to kind of include them now to give an update on a regular. We kind of feel like there's so many events going on. It's kind of good for you guys to be aware of what's going on. So
Got the Sacramento, got the Sacramento trip coming up, the DC trip coming up, so it can kind of help us prepare for that.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Klinger, can you one over? Okay. Hi again. It's me. I know. Just a quick update on our upcoming Sacramento Legislative Advocacy trip. The Public Outreach and Government Affairs staff is still working with Elvia to finalize details on your trip, and in coordination with our state lobbyists to organize meeting times with our state legislators. During this time, we'll also be able to highlight some of our big legislative priorities, such as the Romer Treatment Facility Upgrade Plan, workforce training, career pathways, and then some of our current and future projects, including Bloomington Phase 3C, SCADA, water storage, septic to sewer, and our nitrate initiatives. And then on the screen is a possible list of state legislators that California Strategies is working to coordinate meetings with. More detailed schedule will be given to you closer to the trip date. I don't know if you have anything to add to this one, Elvia?
Yeah, so you do have your travel folio that I've given you that has information and details on your trip, including all the reservations and confirmations. So as soon as this becomes available, we will email that to you, and I will probably send you a snapshot of it so you have it on your phone.
Okay, and then I'm going to call Isabel up to give you the rest of our updates.
All right.
Good evening, President Young, Board of Directors. Tonight's Public Outreach and Government Affairs presentation includes a recap of the past 2 weeks, all of our upcoming events, as well as a recap of our past ones, and I will end with the grants update. As always, please feel free to stop me if you guys have any questions. During the last 2 weeks, the team has sat in on legislative calls from the Southern California Water Coalition's Legislative Task Force meeting, the Aqua State Legislative Region 9 meeting, and the Aqua State Ledge meetings. Our team also met with Colton Joint Unified School District to discuss education initiatives, including Earth Day, and also met with Supervisor Baca's office to update them on current projects and discuss potential upcoming funding opportunities. Staff also attended Water Wednesday, a monthly meeting hosted by Valley Water District to discuss regional issues. Internally, our team worked with the finance department to complete the in-house design of the popular annual financial report and began marketing strategies for our iPay Spark. Lastly, we finalized a draft of our branding guidelines that will be taken to the next External Affairs Committee meeting. And that concludes our recap. Next up, we have upcoming events. Tomorrow, staff will be joining you guys on the Aqua Region 9 tour hosted at Mission Springs Water District. And please remember, if you signed up for the Southern California Water Coalition quarterly luncheon, event will be on January 24th. For upcoming outreach events within our service area, on January 25th, we will be attending Colton Joint Unified School District STEM Expo, Rialto's Farmer Market if the weather permits, and Supervisor Baca Jr.'s Fly a Kite Day on February 8th. This will be a great way to interact with the community members that we serve. Lastly, on February 20th, our team will be attending Fontana's State of the City, and we are also coordinating dates for our in-person workshops. Any questions on recap, upcoming events?
Questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
It seems like the Fontana State of the City falls on a board meeting date.
I'll be covering that during my section.
All right.
Any other questions?
Snap.
And I didn't see on January 25th the Colton item on our calendars.
Go ahead.
Yes.
So, yeah, go ahead.
The STEM Expo,
Next week.
it's more of like a student
So yeah,
participation.
These are
Gotcha.
not
Like a
where
career day.
where you're requested to be in attendance to.
This is more what
This is more
External
what they do
Affairs
as
will
far
be
as
doing.
outreach. Yeah.
Very
so
good. Thank you.
So when you don't see them on there and they give you an update, it's just because we want you to be aware of what they're doing.
But just so you know, I look at this list. I did fly a kite with Joe Baca Jr. last year with my kids, and I'm sure my kids would be excited going again. All right. Thank you.
For my sorry, any more questions?
I had a comment.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you guys, this is a dream come true in what I'm seeing here, that you guys are out there and then you're coming back with the things that you've been doing. And even just today, I was at another district and I ran into another person from Colton Joint, and they said they just met with you. And he was excited about the things that you guys are going to do. And so I'm excited, and thank you guys for what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Director Moore. It's a very exciting future for us. For my last update, it'll be everybody's favorite. Oh, I'm so sorry, Director Bennett.
Thank you. January 20th for Martin Luther King Day, the Day of Giving. Me and my significant other will be down in Altadena and helping with the burn victims.
Oh.
And she's solicited to the school board. Several schools were burnt down about using excess school district equipment for services down there in Altadena.
Yeah, that's so amazing. I know there's been talk amongst our district of some employees and the different ways they've donated. So it's been very great to see the community come together for that.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay. Any more comments?
I think you're good.
I'm so excited to get to the grants. I'm so sorry. So for our submitted grants, we have our water and energy efficiency grant application that is a funding request just shy of $4 million. And this is for full transition from our current AMR meters to our advanced metering infrastructure. The expected award announcement on this grant is going to be this coming spring. So fingers crossed for it. On Monday, the Public Outreach and Government Affairs team submitted a grant application for $125,000, and this is for the USBR small scale grant. If awarded, this funding will be to expand our current water use efficiency rebate program. This includes turf replacement as well as household indoor fixtures. The expected award announcement for this is going to be late October, so fingers crossed on that one as well. For our current awarded grants, the district has received 2 state grants. The first one awarded in December under the 2024 Legislative Pre-Disaster Mitigation Grant Program for our 5-2 Emergency Generator Project. The second grant was from the California Office of Emergency Services under their state and local cybersecurity grant program. These funds will be used to develop a SCADA master plan in efforts to modernize the district's infrastructure. And that concludes my report. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, just actually on that last item, it's $250,000.
Oh, so sorry, 250. Okay, for the local cybersecurity?
Yes.
Okay.
Take.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
I just want to make a comment. One, congratulations, and to acknowledge that's $750,000 in grants. That's a heck of a job.
Yes. And
Well done.
thank you so much. And it's all because of an amazing team. All these applications have been submitted in-house. So that also saves money, not having to, look for.
That deserves a
So, yeah.
And really, Isabel's been leading this effort, working with John and Rocky and others, but Isabel's been the, the kingpin? So thank you. Awesome.
Thank you.
But keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, Honorable Board of Directors.
Next time, wear your cape.
I'll remember.
Okay. All right. Albia.
Yes. So, very busy January and February for you all, as you are well aware. We've got tomorrow the Aqua Region 9 tour, and we've got, I believe, all 4 that are going to be attending. Registrations are already completed. It's already in your book. You know where it's going to be. We are closed on Monday for Martin Luther King holiday. Next week, we've got engineering and operations, and then the Southern California Water Coalition quarterly luncheon. I've got Vice President Jenkins and Director Moore that have RSVP'd for that. Then following that up with your legislative trip to Sacramento, like I've said, you've received your folios, and as soon as the itinerary is finalized, you'll get that as well. I inadvertently omitted the special rate study workshop on the 30th. It is in your calendars. I do want to make sure that everybody does RSVP for it. I've checked with you individually and you're all available on that day. I just want to make sure that it's solidified in your calendar. So please make sure to RSVP for that. So next slide, we'll move on to February, and this is where we need some discussion. Got a busy month. We are closed on the 17th for President's Day, but if you look, the 20th falls on the same date as Fontana State of the City. Now, you've got some options where, you can cancel that meeting and call a special meeting, right? For those items that are, that can't wait until the next meeting. You can send a couple of representatives to go to the event so that you still have a quorum here. And I'll leave it up to you to discuss. Now, keep in mind also, the following week, you're in Washington at Aqua DC, and you've got external affairs and engineering and operations that both fall during that week.
And if I could just also add that I mentioned it to you, I know, and Dan, but I have a work conference.
Yes.
So I was going to be missing the 20th already, so that makes quorum even tougher.
Right.
Because
Right.
of it.
Right.
Um,
I
They're
think one of the
canceling the meeting.
options also were to combine both the 6th and the 20th into one meeting on the 13th, you know, and then look at maybe moving policy.
What's everybody's pleasure?
Can you speak into the microphone so I can hear?
I think we should double up on the 13th.
Thoughts? That okay?
Yes, that's fine with me.
13th will work with me. Unless
Alright.
you want to move policy to the 11th.
So at this point, I don't know that we have any policies that are going to come to the committee at this point, or that need to come to the committee. We can give you one-on-one updates if you'd like, so we don't have to necessarily have you take any action.
I mean, we can play it by ear,
Sure.
see if you guys have anything for us, so in which case we can schedule a special meeting, but
Okay.
otherwise we can just skip it.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
All right, so we'll move the regular board meeting from the 6th to the 13th, and so
It would be a cancellation of them,
Yeah.
and we'll call a special meeting.
special meeting, yeah.
Yes.
You can always post a notice of adjournment.
Yeah, we
Make
can-
it a
we
regular
can do that.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, certainly for staff, we need to, make sure you get all your items in for February, because you're going to get one bite at the apple this month.
And I'm just curious, how come we're not just doing it on the 6th so it doesn't complicate things? And just have a,
Because some of the items that are needing to wait until the 20th would be difficult to get this quick up to the 6th.
So we're giving them another week to
Just to
get
give another
things
opportunity,
together.
yeah, to give a longer opportunity to get all of the items in time.
Does that work for everybody?
That's fine for me.
Okay,
All right,
great.
there you go.
Great. Then external affairs, on the 24th, you're at Aqua. For Garcia and Moore. Not sure when that can be moved. The question now then, Mary Jo, would be, do we have pressing items for them, or can we give them a verbal update without requiring any action on their part?
As far as I know, we don't have anything that is pressing at this moment. I can get back to you though.
Okay, so the assumption then is if there's no action that needs to be taken by the committee, then you can have verbal one-on-ones, or we can set up team meetings to give you updates when you have your one-on-ones with me.
yes, and alternatively, we could meet before the board meeting if needed.
On the 13th?
Yeah,
Okay, well,
if needed.
sure. Once we get a hold of Socorro, we can throw that out to the committee. Okay. Now, engineering, operations, and planning.
Our turn.
Yeah.
Can you do the 11th? I was
So
looking at
that's
my-
Aqua DC.
The 11th.
Oh, the 11th on Tuesday. Is that too soon for you?
So most of the items that we're taking to the engineering and ops committee are going to be going to the board on the 13th already. So the 11th
Okay, so
wouldn't provide a lot of benefit unless
Yeah.
something came up between the engineering and ops and the 11th.
I know you might not.
yeah, because my challenge is that I'll be out of town starting the 18th and won't be returning until after.
Oh, so
DC.
you don't have an option for that
So
week before.
I'm gone the last 2 weeks of the month essentially.
Are there pressing items that you need to,
Yeah,
well, you'd have to wait a full month.
I was honestly hoping we can discuss this at engineering and ops next
next
Thursday.
week.
Okay.
Or, yeah.
So
Okay.
staff can have a little bit more
Well,
time.
why don't we? Yeah. So why don't you guys take a look at it? We can talk about it at the next meeting and decide what we might want to do. And worst comes to worst, we can tag Angie in since I'll be out of town, and if we can find a date that works otherwise.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
that sounds good. So for external affairs, we're going to wait and discuss this with Socorro and the committee. For engineering and ops, we'll discuss at the next engineering and ops committee next week. And then what we're going to do is we're going to send a notice of adjournment for both the 6th and the 20th, and we'll have one combined meeting on the 13th. We'll discuss with policy committee also about their updates and when we can meet. Okay.
For a little logistics, Director Garcia, can you let us know your availability on the week of the 18th, in case we do need to call in the backup? We don't have to do it now.
I'm not available Wednesdays,
Maybe
so I won't be
Tuesday.
available the 19th or 20th. So it would be the 18th.
Maybe the 18th.
So maybe the 18th.
Thank you.
So worst comes to worst, the two of you can do it if they need something.
Oh, and 17th is the new President's Day.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else?
Aside from that, I just do want to give you an FYI. We will be planning. It has been, believe it or not, 2 years since your last ethics training, AB 123. So we're going to be doing a combined ethics / Brown Act update because there have been some changes, and we'll probably be doing another special meeting because it takes a couple of hours to get all that out with you all on a Saturday. But we're going to try to get it later in February to kind of wait until your schedules are a little lighter. Not that they will be, but we'll try.
I'm about to say,
Yeah,
good luck
I was
on
gonna say,
that.
can we not
Yeah.
have it on the 8th since that's Supervisor Baca's day?
Right. Well,
fly the
we'll work
kite.
with what
Oh.
potentially will work for you
Right.
and then try to schedule it and make sure that BBK can make it and do that for us, okay?
Thank
It's
you.
just so you're aware, we're coming up to that now.
Yeah.
Right, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So that brings us to the end, and so we will adjourn in the memory. What was her full name again? I'm sorry.
Jessica Torres.
Yeah, and Jessica Torres. And thank you all very much, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. We're adjourned.
So, yeah, are we doing anything to